Hello everyone, it's Gigabeef here, and today we're looking at Tarkov's only unjammable SMG, the PPSh. By the way, I also stream on Twitch and keep my schedule updated on Twitter, so do come by to ask any questions. The PPSh is one of Tarkov's ultimate budget weapons, and I use it quite a bit in the early wipe these days due to its accessibility at Prapor level 1 for cash. At just over 26k, it's one of the cheapest full auto weapons you can buy, but the major advantage here is that if you find it on scavs out in the wild, or cheap on fence, or the flea market later on, the low durability makes almost no difference as you cannot have a malfunction on this gun. The PPSh stands out from other weapons because of this, and it means that you never need to worry about durability. It can be taken down to 0 and still perform well. Naturally, there is an accuracy component to durability too, but as the base PPSh sits at around 7 MOA, this is fairly bad anyway. The range and playstyles that we're using with it makes this a meaningless stat for the weapon. Another key feature is the fire rate. At 1000 RPM, this is one of the fastest firing weapons in the entire game, with the upper end being 1200 RPM for the Glock 18C. It fires faster than a 9mm Vector, the P90 and the MP7, which gives you some context on just how nuts this is. This does wonders for the DPS, which is important as we will see later on, as the ammo is not that good, but it is made up for by everything else. One of those other features is the 35 round mags by default. You can in fact not get a smaller mag, and at the start of the wipe this is the biggest standard magazine that you can access at level 1 traders, and they're cheap too, at only 3k each. This is quite a bit better than the 20 rounders for the Kedda and the Clin for example, which I guess are direct equivalents. What's more is that as of patch 13, the PPSh drum mag has been moved onto Prapor 1, which is insane and hilarious. For 17k, you can equip yourself with a 71 rounder. Utter madness, especially when you consider that jams are impossible. This actually makes the PPSh really strong compared to other weapons of its type. There is also a barter for the drum that can be even cheaper, costing one weapons part that sits at around 10k usually. The only downside to this drum mag really is the 2x2 slot required to hold it in a rig when you reload, otherwise it'll fall onto the ground. The cheapest rig that lets you do this is the SOE Micro with only 8 slots, otherwise the Wartech 106-109 from Ragman 1 or the Umka rig from Jaeger 1 will work fine too. All-in armoured rigs with a 2x2 typically start at Ragman 3 with the TV110, Strandhog, ANA M1 and Bagari rigs the prime candidates for class 4 and 5 armours on the more budget end. This works with one drum and with 35 rounders as backups, but taking this one step further, if you want to use 2 drums and reload between them, you need to just make sure that you have 2 open big 2x2 slots, first to place the old mag and the second to store the new one. This can be achieved with the load-bearing chest rig which is standalone, or some of the others that we've just looked at like the TV110 and the Bagari. Now the fact that you can't mod the gun at all is kind of a blessing and a curse. At most it will cost you 44k for the base weapon and a drum mag because you can't buy any attachments for it, but the standard recoil of the PPSh is not actually that bad. We know that the recoil numbers in Tarkov are not comparable between guns anyway, but just the fact that the vertical recoil is 46 tells us something about this at least. High RPMs usually make weapons much harder to control for the same recoil stat, but given the recoil per bullet is relatively low here and the fact that the horizontal recoil is much smaller now after the recent updates, this actually makes the PPSh quite reasonable to fire. This weapon has always had a bit of a strange recoil profile as it pulls fairly strongly to the left, but this effect has been decreased somewhat with the changes, and even without controlling it the recoil pattern looks much more sensible these days. However, the primary method of killing enemies with this thing is the old trusty leg meta, which is much less recoil sensitive anyway and is a major benefit to those who don't have leveled traders or just want something cheap, especially into the later parts of the wipe. As usual, all we have to do is remove 440 HP from our opponent's legs to kill them, bypassing any armour they might have on, and this is where the fire rate of the PPSh really starts to shine. If you do manage to take someone armoured down, you get to keep all their gear undamaged too. Across the available ammunition, even though there's 7 rounds to choose from technically speaking, there is very little that differentiates one from the other. Typically I will simply choose LRN-PC as it has the highest damage which takes 7 leg shots to kill as well as a recoil buff. This is purchasable at Jaeger 1 so it's accessible really early. I sometimes see players using AKBS instead because it has a slightly better recoil stat at the expense of 1 extra shot to kill with 8, but the difference between them is pretty small overall, especially when using it to shoot at legs. If all on target, with the PPSh and LRN-PC, 7 shots takes less than half a second to spray out, which is real nasty for such a cheap weapon. So with that, let's jump into a few raids to see how it fared. No! Make sure there's no exit campers. There we go. Alrighty. I think I got kind of lucky there. I mean, you're just playing like... Oh. Guy's hurt. He's not dead though. Got him. Well, I mean, I'm pretty... Like, people know I'm in here now, right? Ow. Well, that's not what I want. Oh, dear! Got a lot of PPSh? It is fun, yeah. It is fun. If you're used to like the old Scar and stuff, it might feel high, I don't know. There's one. Ah! Almost empty. Gonna creep. Can hear this guy on the right. The bullet hose. Probably it, isn't it? So this kill got stolen from me. Oh, it's got full soleil. Look at that. Guy. Oh, he's level 2. Okay. He's also level 2. Okay. Actually, who's got bag? Has anyone got bag? This guy, because I think I've got a big mag somewhere. Absolutely, here it is. We can reload this manually. Oh my god, PS12B from an Ash to kill still got me. Aye aye aye. That ain't good, is it? What's going on? What's going on? Oh, there's someone up there. Who was that? Leroy! Okay. Ah. He's a real player. Oh, there's a Vogman. Condor glasses too. Double SSH helmets. Look at that. Double SSH helmets. I love it. Okay. So, how many do we actually need to do? We've only killed one. With 3 players and 1 scav. Or is he underneath? Guess so. Not behind the blue dumpsters? I don't know. Feels like everyone's everywhere. Whoa. Wait, where's he? In here? Where's my drum? Where's my drum? Where's my drum? Where did my drum go? I know it fell through the floor. Sad. How'd you manage to lose your drum? I don't know, but I was going to pick it back up. But it's like, now it's completely gone. And now I'm sad. PP and a kek. How did he loot factory so well? I'm astounded. Morgada Gate 3. I don't think there's any more scavs. I mean, maybe somebody's left around, but there could still be somebody in there. Yep. Okay. Alright. Well, that was fun at least. We had fun. Oh, who is this guy? So as usual, a big shout out to all my patrons. Hit all the buttons if you enjoyed the video, and as always, have fun in your raids.